Buenos días, mi hermanos y hermanas. ¿Cómo estás, mi amigos? ¿Todos bien? All right, I'm not Spanish, not Hispanic. I have a brother-in-law that's Hispanic. But how are you doing today? So, what are your rules set up to actually make you happy? Okay, so there was this girl, and she was asking her daddy. Said, "Daddy, how come this stuff gets so muddled?" Um, And he's like, "What do you mean, babe?" He's like, "How come this stuff just gets so muddled? Every time I make my desk, and the next day it's stuff's everywhere the next day." And it just got her into a bad emotional state. And he was like, "Oh, show me what I have to do to be muddled." And she gave an example and showed these items on the desk, right? So they look down at the desk, and the desk is actually exactly the way she wants. She's like, "I want it to be like this all the time. I want it to be perfect all the time." And he said, "What would happen if I moved this pencil 12 inches to the left?" She's like, "No, no, no, Dad, don't do that, don't do that." Okay, and he said, "Interesting." And he said, "Well, what would it do if I move this ruler up just an inch?" "Don't do that, Dad, don't do that. It's getting muddled." "Well, what would happen if I move these papers and put them on the ground here?" And she was like, "Oh my, please, please, Dad, just don't do that. It's getting the message being muddled." And he was like, "Sweetie, the problem is you have too many ways for things to get muddled, and you have fewer ways to be happy." One of the books I was reading this morning, it talks about you have to set your life up in a way where you win, where you feel happy, where you can feel good, where it's not dependent upon external circumstances for you to feel happy. Now, in saying that, external circumstances can have you increase your level of happiness. But if it's solely dependent upon that at all times, you'll be in a constant state of wanting, right? And external motivation has its benefits, but what it can cause in you, it can cause you to be unhappy. So I believe there does have to be a slight balance, but for most people, they're on this end of the spectrum. There's all these things that they want, and I'm speaking from my heart personally. You just said all these goals and all these things that I necessarily wanted. I want these nice cars, I want these houses, the women, everything. And it's great to know yourself and know those things. We all have dominant desires that we want to go after. That's great. But at the same time, a wise man said it's very important to learn how to feel good without any of that. So I ask you this question starting off today. Are you able to feel good and be happy just for waking up this morning? There was a guy who they were interviewing a few guys. One guy said, "What do you have to be successful?" And he's earning 1.5 million a year. And he said, "Well, if I earn 3 million a year," now mind you, at that time he was earning a $2 million bonus, but he said that didn't count. And he says, "Well, if I had 8% body fat," and he was at 9% body fat. And then the other guy says, "What do you need to be happy?" He was like, "You know what? I woke up this morning, I opened my eyes, I looked up, and I said, woo! I'm alive." And he was happy. And in the audience, the whole crowd just roared and got all crazy. He set the rules up so he can win every day. So anything on top of that was like a cherry on top. Anything like that was like whipped cream. Anything on top of that was a plus in his life. But either way, he set the game up so he could win. So this is the issues that some people have, whether it be in relationships, spouses, jobs. Those are pluses in your life. And those are great things. And obviously having those external motivators is important. But you have to set the game up so that you can win. That's what I grasped and I gleaned from this morning, how important that is. So I ask you, what are you grateful for as of right now? And are you focusing on primarily what you don't have, or are you grateful for what you do have? Are you grateful to be able to, you know what? You woke up this morning, you opened your eyes, you looked down on your body, you had your legs, you had your arms, you had your smile, you had your eyes, you had breath in your lungs, you felt good this morning. You already won. You already won. Everything else is a plus. And I believe nowadays, especially with so much exposure, and it's so easy now to covet other people's behavior, materialistic things, because we have more exposure to it. You know, 20, 30 years ago, before you know, the internet, social media, all these things, we were literally in our little communes, our little communities for the most part, where we weren't exposed to what's going on around us as much, especially before television. We only knew what was going on right here. Right? Now, you may have instances where you see your neighbors have something, that's great. But right now in our day and age, we are bombarded by so much stimulus. Probably the number one skill is to be focused on where you are. There's this quote that I saw when I was living in Los Angeles, and it says, wherever you are, be there. Wherever you are, be there. So today, what are you absolutely grateful for? And like this guy says, make it a priority. Make it an absolute priority to learn how to feel good regardless of an external circumstance. I didn't say exclude having goals and external circumstances to increase your happiness, but learning the art of happiness and fulfillment regardless of the external circumstance. Now, if you can learn that, plus have that. Now, I'm not some, guru or whatever you want to call it, and I haven't mastered this whatsoever. Not even close. But I'm getting better and better every single day and learning the art of what makes you happy. Not what society, propels upon you that makes you happy, but what really makes you happy. You have to do some research in that. Now, there's certain biological, psychological needs that we must have, ingrained in the unconscious that we must have. And there's this one study, and I'll leave you with this tidbit, and he says that, you have the hierarchy of needs, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and you have shelter, food, and all that. And then the top, self-actualization, basically becoming your best self. But he says, it's interesting, and if you see this video and you know the guy I'm talking about, please comment below to refresh my memory. But he says, people on an unconscious, deep desire, survival level for their base need actually require meaningful social relationships even more than food and water. That's how we're wired. Even more than food and water. You would think shelter, food, water, they'll be the primal needs that we need. But this guy says no. Actually, social interaction, being around family, or strong social ties or intimate relationships are even more important than the other stuff. So maybe you might have to prioritize and know maybe we're striving after things that we think are going to make us happy, but in our gut and our feeling knows that this isn't going to make you happy. So all this, reevaluate your life. Reevaluate your life. I continuously do this every single day. So my intention is to share this with you, give you fantastic value, pass this along. Focus on feeling good. Focus on just, man, today's a fantastic day. I felt good today. I woke up this morning. That's great. Thank you for watching this. Check out, I was reading actually Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. I was reading a little bit of that this morning. So that's where I got a lot of the references to. Check out that book for sure. But thank you guys for watching. Until next time, my friends. Adios, mi amigos. Deuces.